time. So the envelope, or the Oscar goes to, did you guys watch? Almost everybody watched. Oscars again are, and you know my obsession, classic rewarding causative agency and classic connection. We assume because they get the award, obviously they're competent, it's all about being competent, and therefore they get enormous praise, connection. Everybody wants to interview them, they're connected. So we idealize that, hence unidieticism, and we want to be them in a way. Furthermore, if we look at each, and I didn't see all of, good morning, hello there, I didn't see all of the films. We have kind of an Oscar club, so we try to see, I saw several of them. Anybody see all of them? All of the nominees? Nobody saw all of them, but you saw some. Again, to be obsessive, every single one of those movies, their primary basic themes were connection and causative agency. Every single one of them. I mean, you couldn't get more literal than disconnection with gravity. Okay? That's disconnection. That's about as disconnected as you can be. Okay? If you start looking at this, you'll see it. It's amazing. But you look at every single one of those themes. The fundamental theme is about connection and about causative agency. So causative agency, remember what's causative agency? What do I mean by that? It's a little funny term.
You control your destiny.
Exactly. We have this primal drive. And it's really loops together with being connected. It's the same thing. We have a primal, oh brave one, I guess there's nothing left, to be the causative agents of our existence. It's a necessary illusion. Just like the self is an illusion, it's an illusion that we are the causative agent of our life. Trauma is the shattering of the illusion that we are the causative agent of our existence. It suddenly rudely awakens us and says, no, you're not. And that is traumatic. Good therapy, good trauma therapy, reinstates the necessary illusion that we are in fact the causative agents of our existence. That's interesting how that loops. To me, causative agency is the border around that picture frame of the illusion of self. You know, the one, again, that I keep always referring to? To me, that's what border. In fact, you helped me clarify that it was in our need to feel connected for survival that causative agency really came about. That's how connected to are. So in fact, what we get connected to is what it is that enhances our causative agency. We get connected to that. And what gets in the way of it, we hate, we disconnect. So I did see Dallas Club. You saw Dallas Club, most of you? Okay, powerful. He's being thwarted to being the causative agent of his own health, right? He needs these medications. They're not bad pharma, boo, hiss, and of course you have the kind of archetypal bad pharma guys in the suits guys. So we hate them, boo, hiss, because they're interfering with being the causative agent. And what's the F word or the U word? It's unfair. They're being unbelievably unfair. Why can't I have these medications? Well, they're not approved by FDA. Well, fuck the FDA. And Jennifer Gardner plays the doctor who starts to facilitate, starts to help him. So we love her. She facilitates his causative agency. So we get connected to what it is that facilitates. And underlying that is the connection to the principle of I will have the freedom to decide my own care for my own survival. Goodness, I know. It's another one that was on there. Oh, I didn't see 12 Years of Slavery, but I can't imagine it isn't about. I mean, I know what it's about. Come on. Talk about being taken away from being the causative agent of your life. I guess he was a musician or something. Boom, you're a slave again. Oh my God. Talk about being attached to that principle of freedom. I'm sure there were many a teary moment. I mean, even the blurb on there, whether it's his speech, it's so powerful. It's really about, I will be the causative agent of my existence. You will not take that away from me. And I'm sure there was all kinds of scenes of connections between him and the woman who played, whatever, something, she got Best Supporting Actress. And any scene that you teared about, that was the thing. And his righteousness, and then he gets it back. And I'm sure there were bad guys that were keeping him enslaved that we all hated. And I'm sure there were good people that facilitated and we loved. What's another one?
American Hustle.
What? Oh, that one I didn't see at all. So I really wouldn't, I don't know. I'm sure it's in there. I'm sure there were things of connection. And even just the way, of course, the awards and the award speeches. What moved you is how they felt connected to somebody. I thank you or something. And the celebration of their competence. Anyway, you get this. Okay. Her. It got best screenplay, wasn't it? You guys see her? You guys should see Her. Just because you're psychologists, you should see that movie. It's a really interesting movie. So talk, for those who did see it, how does that fit in with this theme of connection? I mean, either one.
One thing is that I've written about this as much as I missed that initial class of connection. And by watching the video, it really made me think about and related to Her, it makes me think about the surrogate. They actually have robots now that they're trying to have a surrogate relationships for elderly people and people in general who are having a hard time interacting. But that's what it really made me think about was is it necessary to have another human connection, or are we going to be able to at some point figure out how, what love is, what connection is, and are we going to be able to synthesize that? It's a scary idea.
Exactly. So way back when, even when I was in grad school, yes, that long ago, they started a computer program that simulated Rogerian therapy, and was just very, very reflective. You come in, and the kid would say, "What would you like to discuss today?" Whatever it is. I'm so disappointed I didn't win the Emmy. It sounds like you're extremely disappointed that you didn't win the Emmy. It was just kind of literally a mirror, basically. A lot of folks loved it. A lot of folks would come and just type in and wait for the thing. Many, many years later, I was actually involved in a project. I don't know if you know, but I guess it's still online. If you go to scitesting.com, it's a projective, I created this projective test thing where you type in stories to pictures. I went through 50,000 pictures, literally, and picked out 15 and put it online. I worked with Connie Dahlberg because I wanted to norm this thing. I thought this would be a great thing. So I found a very good assessment measure of, or a scoring system, thank you, a scoring system for content analysis. Content analysis scoring system, a guy named Gottschalk, not Gottman, Gottschalk. So I applied it to that, and we came up with all those things. Well, friend of a friend, blah, blah, they had some money, and they wanted to create some kind of an interactive, kind of quasi, not really therapeutic, but engagement. So I called it Siggy. You know the reference. And basically you'd type in what is an open journal thing, and it would give you feedback. So we had a group that kind of were testing it out. All I did was I'd have the group type stuff, whatever. I would analyze it using Gottschalk's system. It had skills like anxiety and depression and hostility and all that other stuff. Gottschalk actually did it with Ronald Reagan when he was president, way before he had senility. And Reagan even then was already scoring high on the neuro problems scale, I know, while he was running the country. But in any event, what was fascinating was, and I would say things, and I'd say, I'm Siggy, hey, I'm just a computer program, but I'm wondering if maybe perhaps you might be having some anxiety going on. Because I could at least talk to the folks that were doing it, part of the got really fascinated. So they kept sending me stuff. I didn't know who it was. So it actually got very interesting. Again, the same thing. By the way, we broke up with my buddy who's a AI genius, certified AI genius, and I broke off when we felt betrayed by these guys, and we started doing our own thing. You can't imagine what it's like to open an envelope that says you're being sued for $100 million. Wow, $100 million. If I had that, that'd be interesting. We won the thing, but anyway, they paid us money. I then, years later, started a thing called My Treehouse, because I'm watching Drawn and his buddies do all this screen stuff, and I understand it's here to stay. So I thought, how do we make this helpful? So My Treehouse was basically it's an interactive page. In your beginning of your computer, you open it up, and there were two characters, Tally and Gallister, and they would interact with you. My fear was the kids would get so hooked onto it that I'm only contributing to the very thing I'm trying to change. So Callie and Gallister, because they're trying to help you take loving responsibility for care of yourself, they're very cute actually. Hard to draw perfectly trans-ethnic kids. It's like, they would say things like, I see you really enjoying having a great time together. I think it's time for you to go play baseball. They would tell you to leave, get off the screen, see it next time. They would learn all about the kid. They learn all about, they would know where he is. What the weather was. It could get very, very sophisticated. But that was always my fear. Because what her does brilliantly, never mind that voice, oh my God. Voice is fabulous. It's a psychoanthropologist of your soul. Wants to know all about you. Take me everywhere you go. Let me read you something from another movie. The movie's called Shall We Dance? I guess I kind of was glancing through it, 2004. And one of the characters suddenly says this, and I paused and went, oh my God, I gotta write this down. Rewind. Hi there, it's okay. He comes in sheepishly. I see you're feeling a little embarrassed. I see you're feeling even more embarrassed because I'm pointing it out. You probably wish I would shut up. I will.
It'll serve you well.
Thank you. Yes, very good. Thank you. Very good. So here's the quote. You ready? This is really good. We need a witness to our lives. There's 1 billion people on the planet. What does any one life really mean? But in a marriage, and I would say in a relationship, you're promising to care about everything. The good things, the bad things, the terrible things, the mundane things. All of it. All the time. Every day. You're saying, quote, your life will not go unnoticed because I will notice it. Your life will not go unwitnessed because I will be your witness, unquote. I thought, oh my God, that's perfect. That's exactly. I've already used that thing. We want a witness to our truths. And truths aren't plural. We want a witness to our truths. And that's what her was. She was a witness to his truth, and he's glomming on. He loves her. He takes her with him everywhere he wants to be. He feels more connected to her than anything else. We want a witness. So we want our partners to be our witnesses. God knows we want our parents. And as a parent, you need to witness your child. In fact, if you look at when I read Guardian Neighbor, right? With Linda Berry, was the author. Mrs. Taylor was a witness to those kids, lost art from an ancient tribe, to really listen, as if it really matters what you say, ergo to really be a witness. And that's why she's so connected, and that's why it influenced Berry to become an artist. When you see the tape, you'll see that one. That's really a nice little article. And you, as therapists, need to be a witness to the truths of the children that you see. And the way they will speak their truth, and we'll get to that today, is called through play. Play is expression of the truths of the soul of the child. Okay? Okay. Since we're on movies, let me say one other thing. I love this from, what was the name of the movie? Spielberg did a movie called Super 8. Did you ever see it? Sweet movie. Kid loses his mom. So he has this kind of crush going with this girl. He's, 12-ish, 14 or something, I don't know. It's an interesting movie. There's a scene where he's watching a video of his mom with this girl. And he suddenly says, because there's a scene in the video he's watching, the mom here interacting, and he says, she used to look at me this way, like really look. And I just knew I was there. I just knew that I existed. There is no me without a we. I thought he caught it so poignantly. And you see it until you go, that's it, that's it, that's it. Twinkle in the eye. You exist. Okay. I talked about parts model. Inner White House. Remember that? Okay. When I say truths, what I mean by that is all our different parts at some point need to have a voice, need to be heard, need to be witnessed. That's really good old-fashioned psychoanalytic psychotherapy. Basically, they're saying you can think, feel, say anything. Let me hear it. I'll witness it, even if it's in silence. Every once in a while, I'll comment. When we get to psychoanalytic, I'll talk about that. I was actually in analysis. I was on the couch, the whole thing. Interesting. Anybody here been in analysis on the couch? Very different. So again, you have the president. The president only does not run the country directly, only delegates, in metaphor obviously, to these various parts. You got to be in charge of what part is running your country. We all have an inner slacker. And my slacker really gets in the way in terms of report writing. So my do-it-to-it guy has to deal with my slacker. We all a kvetcher. Oh God, complain. I was once had a girlfriend who, it was amazing how much she kvetched. And then she told me once, her mom used to tell her when she'd come home from kindergarten, say at least 3 nice things that happened that day. Attitude of gratitude. We all have the inner hero. And that's enormously important. And when you stand up in front of your committee to do your presentation, you're going to be in contact with your inner hero. And that part of you needs to be, and your inner scholar. Now, by the way, these parts group together. It's not just like any single thing, they group together. We all have the principal part. I was working with a guy the other day who's screaming in my office. He is so mad at the court systems because they have given time to that alcoholic, pardon me, fucked up mother. And now he's going to go meet with a co-parenting facilitator. I said, dude, what part of you is running your show right now? He knows he has the principled one. He's very good at this stuff. And it's also his Papa Bear part. It's really about my kids. He's an alcoholic. Nobody's taking care of my kids. So the Papa Bear, the protected one, will do anything with his kids, and the principled one grouped together. Oh my God, that's a powerful force. But I said, we need your sane brain too, because you yell like that at the mediator person, the parenting coordinator, you're going to lose time. Principled one's very, again, in those movies, what we're honoring is that principled one, the part that, I'm not going to be a slave, are you kidding? I'm going to get my meds. That's a principle. It's enormously powerful in this. I work with a kid, now a young adult, who has psychotic breaks at times. And he moves into real delusional paranoia. Fortunately, his sane brain, actually I have 2 of them. And I say, well, in one, the first guy wants to write novels. So the way I explain his paranoia to him, I talk about the amygdala and what happens when you get amygdalated. Dude, I think right now kids will come in and think, his mom's poisoning him, my mom's, I think, but he looks at me, at least he has to say it, you say, but I'm not sure. I said, that's your sane brain right there. You're not sure. Hey, I don't know for sure, pen might not drop, maybe your mom's poisoning you. But if we just do the probability thing, not likely. I mean, you can give the food to the dog, though I know you love your dog, so you don't want your dog to kick over. You can make sure she eats a bite first. But he's thinking, but maybe she switched. So you've got your, and this, remember, the Department of Defense is the biggest part of our inner White House. You got your protector in there. He wants to protect you, okay? So you have to, and then you've got a very creative mind. You're a novelist. So the problem is you got your amygdala going, you got your protector going, oh my God, and you got your novelist who's going to write all kinds of scenarios for you that the average person wouldn't even think of. It's enormously creative. Keep it on the page, not in your life. Dude, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's really happening. Okay. So if you start blending these parts, it could be a real problem. It's called a perverse protector. Substance abuse, perverse protector. Trying to protect you from pain and anguish and all kinds of stuff. Suicide, the ultimate perverse protector. Saying, I'm going to take you out of this pain. Feeling so disconnected from everything, it's an unbearable pain, we're taking you out. Never mind also principle. People will kill themselves without principle. He used to say, when you want to murder yourself, you're really angry at somebody or something out there that you want to murder. Instead, you're putting it on yourself. Okay, you getting the sense of this? What part of the brain are you using when you are being the inner president, when you are thinking about and talking about these different parts? A little louder, thank you. I'm sorry, the what? Yeah, exactly. Obviously using a lot, but basically you're using the prefrontal cortex. Remember, the prefrontal cortex discriminates, differentiates, looks at the specifics. That's extremely useful. Instead of just saying, I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, it's like, no, there's a part of you that amygdalating and has a creative novelist. The two get together and trying to protect you. That's a much more palpable way. And by the way, it's more realistic. You're able to step back. Now you have some say. So who do you want to be in that White House? Do you want the drug addict in the White House? Do you want the bongs all over that Oval Office table? I mean, come on, really? Who do you want in that White House? I want my sober self. Okay, how are you going to do that? And they visualize. You get to visualize it. You get to draw it. You get to talk to it. By the way, you can never get rid of any of these parts, ever. Somebody says you're lazy, you go, you betcha. Part of me is lazy. I also have another part of me. I remember my karate teacher. Volcani, you don't like pain. He kind of implied I was a wimp. Wimp is a mixture of a wuss and a wimp. It's a wimp. He said, you're right, there's a part of me that really doesn't like pain, sir. You're absolutely right. By the way, we call him sir. Because you can see he was about to hit me. You can see I flinched. And because for him, it's like you don't flinch. You just get lower. Just get more focused. Look, there's a part of me that's a wimp. And there's a part of me that's a warrior. You have all those different parts. But the part that thinks about it, that's the president. That's the compassionate observer that can have compassion on the self. That's what you're trying to help these children have access to. Their inner heroes, accepting the inner wimp and wuss and scared one, and be compassionate about it. Okay? All right. That's claro. Any thoughts, comments? And fine if not. I don't want your scared one to go, oh God, I know. Okay. So I read you Guardian Neighbor. And you remember why I read you that? Why did I read you Guardian Neighbor? Remember Mrs. Taylor, the impact on
it takes one interaction.
Correct. I only needed to see it once to believe for the rest of my life that happiness between two people can exist, even if it wasn't happening in my home. Just to be near it counted for something. That's fantastic. Linda Berry was, we talked about spunk factor. Linda Berry was a flower in the desert. And she just needed a little rain. Like those invulnerables, the studies on people, on kids who are very resilient. Thank you, hello. What they always have, somewhere in their lives, is some teacher, some neighbor, some kid's parent that had a twinkle in the eye for them, that witnessed them and delighted in them, and they just went, it must count for something, even though it's not happening in my house. It must count for something. And it can change your life. One individual can change the life of another individual. So that's why I read you that. You can change the life of another individual, a little pumpkin, if you witness their truths and have a genuine twinkle in the eye for them. Okay, individual psychotherapy with minors. When would you do this individual psychotherapy thing with little pumpkins? Under what circumstance, what condition? You're the intake worker. A little pumpkin comes, well, little family. And by the way, it's not an either or. You can do family. Somebody else probably is going to do the family therapy. Somebody else might do a different kind, but there are times when an individual therapy with a little pumpkin, you and them alone in an office, is, I believe, the appropriate treatment of choice. What circumstance? When might that be the case?
Trauma.
You betcha. You betcha, sweet bippy baby. When their necessary illusion of being the cause of aging in their life has been shattered by physical, sexual, and other trauma. By the way, what's one of the very, very common traumas? I mean, obviously, abuse, sexual abuse. Obviously, you have, car accidents and that kind of stuff. Illnesses, bad illnesses, whether in self or other. Accidents, by the way, can be in self or other for little pumpkins. What's another classic trauma? This is about 50% of the population.
Divorce.
Correctamento. Divorce. Remember the little Pac-Mans that define the self? Family is a huge part of defining oneself. And just to finish the sentence, when you get divorced, that little corner has been chipped off, your sense of self gets disoriented. You want to add or say something?
Yeah, so we work with, me and Liz work with trauma kids, and these are pretty much all of them, except they also add bullying.
Oh, bullying is really important. That's, boy, talk about again not being the causative agent. That's a really good one. And of course now there's so many ways to bully. Gentlemen, oh, you know what, dear people, I don't even need the whiteboard today.
Okay.
And here you are. I mean, this is like, come all the way here, you all set to go, and it's like,
Free in about 20 minutes or so, give or take?
at 10 o'clock.
Okay, we'll come back.
Thank you. So sorry. I'm sure this guy's like, yeah, he's trying to be causative, trying to, it's like, oh, fine, okay. I don't blame you, I understand, I feel your pain. Frustration, actually. So bullying, that's a really important one. And cyberbullying also, oh my God. Especially when we get to adolescence. And it's so important to feel connected to peers. And you can be tarnished, shamed, so fully and so universally. Oh my God. Okay. What are other reasons you might see a child in individual psychotherapy?
Death?
Huge trauma. Boy, so far it's all, yeah. Absolutely. Kids also, as a result of any of the above, and sometimes with no obvious external, like reactive factor, can have anxiety. They can be little amygdalations. They are, they're little amygdalators. Just like, you're in a different, remember, we talked a lot about the different brain states you're in? I told you that when I was in Israel and that guard for the president said he had this bullet that could reach me anywhere. That freaked me out. Didn't sleep well that night. Now that was, in one sense, a reactive anxiety. I won't say it's a disorder, it was a reaction. Reactive is an anxiety reaction. Scary out there. I told you how when I was coming across the ocean from Israel to America, sailing across the ocean blue, and the Andrea Doria, I even remember the name. I'll never forget that name. Sank! I saw her beautifully in the porthole, and then I found out the next day she sank. I told you I was doing all those drawings, the boat that had that boat sinking all the way down. It was traumatic for me. It was scary for me. It's anxiety. So they have real anxiety. And they really do have depression. These little pumpkins. I had the sweetest little 3-year-old. I have, as you'll see why, I have a mirror in my office. I use mirrors. She looked in the mirror and said, I'm so ugly. This little pumpkin in age 3. I'm so ugly. Oh, and she, by the way, she wasn't. I mean, our kid's trying to continue from really, really cute to less cute, but we're still adorable. Nature's very smart. Oh, God, nature's so smart. I mean, come on, most kids are really cute. Some are unbelievably cute, but it's hard to not be at least some, because you got the proportion thing going. My puppies are so cute. Oh my God. They draw us in so we connect. Can you imagine at age 3 already looking in the mirror and thinking you're ugly, feeling you're ugly? Pumpkin. So let's diverge for a second over here to re-establish something that's really important. Remember the chicken in the snow mound? What do you remember about chicken and snowman? What is that, chicken and snowman? I know, I love it, the Google search. I can see her engines going, so when did he talk about the sketching? Here we go. What is it?
Shovel with the...
Correct.
Chicken poop.
Yeah.
Exactly, very good. So the point of that being that, what's the point of all that? Why that particular thing I find incredibly fascinating.
Because our brains need to fill in the blanks to make sense of something.
The limbic, remember this, the limbic in many ways defines and defies the logic. Defines the logic. Now, cognitive behaviorism is also right. Yeah, if you think about rattlesnakes, you'll start having feelings of anxiety, unless you happen to be a, whatever they call it, herbivore, but that loves snakes. Herb, something around it. Don't confuse it with herbs. But if not, that's true. But more often, and really, and that's where the psychoanalytic-y type folks are also correct, it's all these non-verbal, I don't call them unconscious, I call them non-verbally conscious perceptions, thoughts, feelings, schemas that create our thoughts. We legitimize and justify these feelings, these states. That's what I was trying to say to the paranoid kid. Yeah, there's amygdalation, all these feelings going. Your creative mind is saying, I don't know what's amygdalation. It must be this. My mom's poisoning me. That's it. Oh, that makes sense. We gotta justify it. We're incredibly, our PFCs, we're incredibly rational beings because we want to be the causative agent. We want to predict. We're wrong. Has nothing to do with it. She picked the shovel, right, to pick up the chicken poop. Because in her non-verbal, yet still in one level conscious mind, she saw the snow mound, but in her conscious mind she saw the chicken. So she has to, oh, I know, it's to pick up the poop. Nothing to do with it. That's why it's pointless to get into arguments with much of anything that's important. You're not going to convince the other person. I actually worked last night till 10 o'clock. I saw this couple at 8 p.m. And they were going at it. What? You're amygdalating. You're not going to convince the other. You're different cultures in that regard. By the way, just a real side footnote that can be useful. They came from out of county. They sped down here. So he got a speeding ticket. The guy's so upset. I totally understand. I go, dude, here's what I do with light. And this is the weird part of my brain. When something happens that I really didn't want to happen, I'll say, all right, it would have been worse if that didn't happen. So I said, here's how weird my mind goes. We wouldn't be having that conversation if that policeman didn't stop you. Because you were going really fast. My wife's like, yeah, you're going really fast. Do you understand why we wouldn't be having this conversation? Yeah, you mean I'd have an accident, I'd be dead? Exactly. Or worse, let's really get bad here. Because I also had the dog. I have dogs in this session, it's fine. Your wife and dog would be dead, and you wouldn't be. Oh my God. Then you kill yourself. Think of that when you're writing the $300 for the parking, for the speeding ticket, and go, hallelujah. Do you want a tip? Because thank you, universe. This saved my life. Your future grandchildren, when you're 95 in the rocking chair, and holding your great-grandchildren, thank the officer for having stopped you and given you that. I mean, that's how weird I can. You know, it's like, yes, yes. Because I'm trying to undo this feeling of, fuck. Okay. It's very important. That part of our brains. And that's the part that you touch in play therapy. Is that part of the orbital frontal, mythic, magic mind. We'll get there. And God knows little pumpkins. I don't know what the percentage specifically is, but it's got to be at least 60 to 70%, maybe even 80% of the kids you're going to see, ages 4 to 10-ish or something, are going to be boys. And what's the most common thing that the little pumpkin is going to be brought in for?
Opposition.
Yes. Opposition defines for acting out, throwing things, tantrums. They go, grr. They gurritize a lot. Little boys. Technical term, gurritize. You're grad students, you can help. Grr. I'll give you an intervention. I just thought of it, actually in consult with this little pumpkin who's about, how old is he? 5. Now, of course, initially get this. He'll tantrum with mom and not with dad. They're divorced, of course. So mom's a little sheepish about it because she thinks, oh my God, dad's going to use this against me in court. Different relationships. Every one of you had a different relationship with your mom and your dad. Different dynamics. I'll say to the mom, they do it with you because I'm sure they're close to dad or whatever. They feel even more safe and close to you. And the first word of identity is no. So it's a way to separate while they feel so close to you. This pumpkin has big. So we're saying the pumpkin does a lot of things. He plays and whatnot. But we also suddenly got in a conversation, and he said something about. I said, oh yeah, I know. When I have tantrums, I just feel like going ah. And he went, oh, snow angels. I went, oh yeah, it's like snow angels. I said, oh, we can do floor angels. And he was like, oh yeah, floor angels. I said, perfect. So when you feel like going, just do a floor angel. Drop on the floor and go. And mom goes, what are you doing? You go, floor angels, floor angels. He loved it. So we were sitting down going, floor angels. Swear to God. Fortunately, my cleaning lady had cleaned the floor. So we like dust angels. It was actually clear. Like, oh, okay. So I told mom, I said, if it's okay with me. Oh yeah, I want mom to know. So I had mom and he get on the floor and do floor angels. And their assignment is to practice floor angels. So you can deal a lot with this. You can deal a lot with opposition defiant disorder. Anyway. Let me give you another way of looking at this. Because then I'll add some things to this. I always say to the people I see, there's at least, in a certain way, 3, if you want to use the word legitimate uses for this space. One is, of course, the most traditional. It's called treatment. You're providing a cure, therapy, for a specific disorder, a disturbance, a disease. Obviously, usually defined by the parent. A certain amount of certain kinds of behavior, at a certain frequency, a certain duration, a certain intensity creates a problem. Whether it's a teacher, let's go to parent somebody, and then you bring them in. And that's very legitimate. And there's a diagnosis, and if you bill insurance, they should get reimbursed, et cetera, et cetera. So one is obviously a cure in the traditional sense, cure for disorder, a DX. Two, I say, it's kind of like pool cleaning for some kids. What I mean by that is, the pool is fine. It's a beautiful pool. Pool being the kid. Huge eucalyptus tree. Divorce, some other situation. Obviously, I work a lot with divorce cases. It's dropping leaves in the pool. It's going to get plugged up. The space is a pool cleaner that kind of clears that stuff up. And sometimes I'll literally, I think I did it in here. I said, here, give me your anxiety, and I toss it out the door, literally. Do that all the time with the kids. It's just their stuff. Do it in here. It's Vegas. What happens here stays in here. And that's what I told that couple last night, because they were still foofing. I said, look, leave it in here. This is your garbage disposal. This is your toilet bowl. Dump it here, flush. Go out to the world. Dun, 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 dun. Here's a contra phrase. You usually are told, say more about that. Say less about that. Don't talk about that. I'm not saying you're ignoring it. You're just putting it on the shelf over there. It's like the back room in the house. It's all just leave it there for now. Pool filter, pool cleaner. Okay? Because you'll get in divorce situations. Court, I have two of these right now. The court has ordered therapy for the minor. The dad, more often than not, in fact, so far it's been 100%, doesn't want the kid. There's nothing wrong with my kid. Actually, the one with the snow angels, dad's like, hey, you're a nice guy, Volcani, there's nothing wrong with my kid. It's the mom and blah, 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 blah. It's court ordered, dude. So let's figure this out. And I told him these models. I said, look, if nothing else, there's obviously a little conflict here between you and her. Pumpkin sensitive. It's like radon, man. They pick this up. Pheromonal. They know how you feel about each other. That creates conflict inside of him. Sensitive soul, right? Okay, pool filter. That's sick, not bad. If you're going to give a DX on that, it's called adjustment disorder. My favorite DX. Quick story on DX. So way, way back before you were even born, there was a guy named McGovern who ran for president. And I was at UC Santa Barbara, and all of Isla Vista was voting for him. I actually thought McGovern was going to win. I actually walked the streets of Montecito. Very wealthy. By the way, footnote on that, we associate wealth with what? Causative agency. Wealth is freedom. Wealth does not bring you happiness. But if you're already happy, really does open your options. That's cool. That is cool. I told you, I'd love to be wealthy so that I could still do what I'm doing, and we write checks to good causes. Right now, it's USC. Might as well just write the check to USC, because that's where most of it's going. Anyway. I knocked on the door of what ended up being the head guy of the Nixon campaign. And I'm a hippie-looking guy, and I said, here you are, sir. And he says, I'm the head guy of the Nixon campaign. This isn't going to work. But I respect that you care enough that you would come to this area and knock on my door. And we actually shook hands. And of course he said, God bless America. Yes, sir. You hippie, indigent. Point is, on the ticket was a guy named Tom Eagleton. And why do I remember Tom Eagleton? Because he was kicked off of the ticket. Why? Because he had a DX of depression 20 years earlier, and he had electroshock therapy, and they kicked him off the ticket. So the first time I ever did a diagnosis, I immediately said, oh my God, this is for you, Tom. What's the most benign diagnosis that's accurate? Insurance will pay, and you can still run for president. Never mind, vice president. 308.21, love it. Adjustment reaction. DX is adjustment reaction. Okay? 3, perfectly legitimate use, totally a luxury, no DX. Vitamin supplement. Vitamin supplement, also known as developmental enhancement. And that is, there's nothing wrong with the kid. And he's in a perfectly happy home and whatnot. But life is complicated. He has a soccer coach, or she. He has his karate coach. He has his music teacher. He has his care coach. I am a care coach. By the way, I do tell people, and that's how I tell the kids, I'm a care coach. I'm here to help you take great care of yourself. I'm here to help your parents, help you take great care of yourself. I'm here to help your parents take great care of you. Care coach. You know, coaches, they get the idea of that. And in many ways, you really are that. As we sit here this very moment, in the Aborigine forest and in beyond Nome, Alaska, there is somebody talking with another human person and being in their tribe or community or whatever, who is not a family member, whether it's a shaman or whatever it is, and they're sharing because they want to witness to their truths. Who can hear them in a way that isn't complicated and they don't have to filter it and all of that. And it's helpful for our species. We are the storytelling people and we want our stories heard. That's why we give Academy Awards, because those are great stories and they speak our universal stories. I think this is a perfect legitimate use, and it's a luxury, and there's no diagnosis. I don't have a lot of those kids, but I do have some, and it's really cool. My next to last client yesterday, I've had the privilege, I'm getting teary-eyed. I have seen her since she was 11. She's now just turned 21. I don't see her every week. She's fantastic. We'll get more about that in the next segment of all this. But I am now a vitamin supplement. I'm a developmental enhancer to her. And it's perfectly legitimate. So, I get a call by, let's see, where I'm going to put this over here. A nice Asian couple who have just moved to this country. They have a marvelous little 3-year-old who's very bright. He has grown up, obviously, with the two of them. They're professionals, very smart people and all that. And they're, I guess they wouldn't call it clan, but it sounds like a clan. They all lived very close to each other and very involved in each other's lives, the parents, and nearly a commune. Remember the Chinese do the fMRI? Think about yourself, think about family member. Same area of the brain. That's connection. This little pumpkin's traumatized. Oh my God. By the way, it can be traumatic. Aniloma de Bervrit. I don't speak Hebrew. I repressed 7 years of Hebrew in 2 months. It must have been quite a little shock to come to this country. Mom's American, so I'm bilingual. Always spoke English and all. I look around, nobody's talking Hebrew, and now I'm an American. Aniloma de Bervrit. 20 years later, I'm driving home for Thanksgiving. Suddenly the word chatul comes to my brain as I'm driving. Chatul is Hebrew for cat. Kelev is Hebrew for dog. Went to a hypnotist, Beatrice, to get my Hebrew back when I was there. I think I told you guys this. Anyway, I would only get words, I wouldn't know what they meant. So this little pumpkin doesn't want to leave their parents' side, his parents' side. He's literally clinging to their legs. Now, they can't really take him to the office like this. They're big, high-powered people. So what the heck are they going to do? This wonderful daycare and all this, they won't go. So they bring him in. Well, he got to a point, by the way, Aniloma de Bear Japanese. This kid knows English, won't use it. They finally got a nanny. Okay, we're doing better. But they want to basically launch him to the world. Comes in, sees lots of toys. He starts getting into the toys. I do classic, which you will learn, child-directed, mirror with heart, humanistic, child-centered therapy experience of this child. I have no idea what he's saying. Doesn't matter. Prosody. Remember prosody? It's what matters. Right brain, that's what matters. So I reflect. Just the fact that he would come in the office and be separate from his parents, right? It's kind of a desensitization. It's a phobic model, right? We're going to desensitize you. That's a really good deal. By the way, first they had to be in, of course. And then I said something like, you had that phone call to make, right? Oh, yeah. So let's get up and make the phone call. Kid doesn't even know. It's like, yeah, because he's totally immersed. Bimonic state. is bimonic. You don't have to use words. You're not bimonic on the verbal level. The verbal facilitates the bimonic. So I saw him 6 times. The 5th time, sitting there, and I do reflect. I see you putting the bed over there, and we're in the building's a little house thing, and the little families together and all this. And then he looks at me and goes, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone. I don't even know how to imitate Japanese, but like, I'm like, I know you're trying to tell me something, but I don't know what it is. I'm so sorry. I see it's really important for you. I can see how frustrating it is for you. I'm so sorry. I wish I knew. I don't know. By now, by the way, his parents didn't even have to be in the waiting room. They went and got coffee, so I can't go, hey, what's Nohea Tonk mean? I mean, I can't even do that. He finally looks at me and says, put the bed over there. Oh. No. Thank you. Got it. That moment, ever since he spoke English to me. And he started speaking English in the world. I saw him one more time. You can be an alternative relationship. You can be a bridge. Oh, it's over here. Alternative relationship. You can be a bridge to the world. The floor angel guy, the dad, and we're okay with each other. He's like, I can do all that. I say, I've been playing guitar for 50 years. I'm a good guitarist. My son, I always made sure there was a little guitar around the house, and God knows he heard me play a ton. And he started playing and whatnot. But it was very clear to me, I was not going to be his guitar teacher. Because we were going to get into dynamics. And I don't want those dynamics. God knows he asks me for anything, I'll show him. Deron rarely asks me for anything in terms of guitar. And that's just fine. He is really good. My eyes will fill. It's so cool to listen to him play. It's so cool. He just goes. Really weird footnote way over here, really weird one. It's interesting to think, when that big light goes out, the last thought, what would you want to be your last thought, your last vision as you go? I know what mine is. It's pushing, I got him in the car, pushing Deron into his first wave and seeing his face as that late afternoon summer sun beams and he's brighter than the sun. Oh God, what a treasure. So, we need other people to teach our kids these things, even though we can do them really well, because we get into dynamics. My dear, sweet, brilliant, marvelous wife, right, East Coast, all that stuff, is a homework fanatic. Here, Deron, have you done your homework? Oh, honey. And he's like, you only get to ask me 3 questions a day. That's it. And we both agree, all of us agree, this isn't working. And she's very smart, I'm very smart, I can do it. We hired somebody called a tutor. Thank God his other kids had this same tutor, so it was cool. And thank God she would go to the school and do it actually at Bishop's in the school in his free time. Yes! Take care of it! Yes! Let me hand this over to you. Ready? Plonk. Take the responsibility of school. We're perfectly capable. Terrible dynamic. I recommend that to a lot of families. By the way, there was a woman in the legislature who fought so much with a kid about homework. She tried to get a law passed, but you weren't going to have homework. Love it. Didn't get that far. Yes?
I'm wondering what your take is on mothers that insist on homeschooling their kids. It's so dependent on the individual. My concern, of course, is, what am I going to say? Socialization. Yeah.
You got to remember, and we'll get to this when we talk about development, by the time a kid is about 8, never mind whether they're 18 or God knows 14, it's peers and passions over parents. It's got to be about peers and passions. And I know, well, maybe I want to, oh, I'm sorry. What did I think about homeschooling? Right. So there are cases, but I worry about the peers and passions. Now they'll say, but the real organized ones, there's a whole movement, as you know, will group together. And maybe I'm biased because I loved going to prom. I loved that whole high school. I loved that whole deal. Not every moment. I didn't like homework. But the highest predictor of your happiness at 30 is not your IQ, is not your SES, it's not what grade point average, it's not anything. What is it? Your friends you had at age 3 and 13. Did you have friends? Did you have good friends? Did you connect? It doesn't have to be a bevy of friends, just one or two people that you've felt were witnessing your truths. So I worry about that part of it. That having been said, my brother-in-law's wife, who is extremely religious and a wonderful human being, I didn't say but, and a wonderful human being, homeschooled her kids because of religious reasons for quite a few years, and then released them, so to speak, to high school. They are fabulous kids. Fabulous kids, every one of them. In fact, one of them, Chelsea, is now in France, southern France, Bordeaux or something, being a nanny. And actually, Rory got her that job. Fabulously independent, just fabulous. So, on one hand, on the other hand. But alternative relationships are important. Other folk. It takes a village, all that kind of stuff. Okay? We will later on, about 8 sessions from now, whatever, we'll talk about filial therapy, which is teaching parents how to be the child-directed person being with their child through play, which is wonderful. There's also parent-child relationship therapy, which I think you know, which is a very structured way of doing 10-session, whatever. And that's great. So I had this one couple bring a kid. They were concerned about some of her anxieties and whatnot. And my first thought was, let's have, they're very educated, lovely people, let's have them do it. So I gave them a couple of tapes. You're going to see both of them. One of them is that filial therapy tape. The guy comes back and says, love this stuff. There is no way that I could say to my daughter, you can think, feel, say anything, do about anything here. That is just not who I am. You do it. We want our daughter to have that experience. Fair enough. It's just kind of like saying, hey, I want my daughter to learn to play piano. I don't play piano. You do. You're an expert. Teach her to play piano. Okay. Alternative relationships. Is there anything I've left out? I'll check. See if there's anything, though I'll bring it back if there is. The treatment coach, right. Okay. I believe that, so now you've decided, okay, you're going to do this. And there's what I'm about to say, there are alternative positions. But I do believe one of the factors that you're saying, when you're saying, yes, we're going to do this engagement, I believe you're saying, and I'm going to be significant in your life. You're saying, now, that's a biased position. They're in the most broad way, really into the performing arts thing, I guess, because they can be. There are two global ways of rubricing kind of all therapies. One is their relationally based approach, and the other is their skill acquisition based approaches. They're really kind of two. Now, obviously, what are the obvious for relationally based therapies? That's what it's about, and that's the ancient. Say, humanistic. Humanistic is absolutely and utterly, and so psychodynamic, relationally based interventions. And the cure, the treatment, the whole thing is about the relationship. And in this I-thou relationship, the flower will bloom. A classic humanistic therapist would never teach the child anything. They wouldn't do snow angels, by the way. That's a skill acquisition model, right? So what's the classic skill acquisition model? Who does that?
CBT.
Absolutely. Even mindfulness, right? Now it's about mindfulness, which to me is Zen Buddhism. We come all the way around 2,000 or whatever, how many years. I'm going to teach you the skill. I'm going to teach you how to think differently. That's great. So they would probably disagree. Well, up to a point. Even the cognitive behaviorists, even the traditional behaviorists say, well, you got to form a rapport, i.e., you got to have some connection here, otherwise you're not going to do anything. So even they would say. By the way, as you well know, the research also shows that outcome is determined in huge part with how you felt connected. They don't necessarily use that term, but nonetheless to your therapist. In fact, there are studies about physical outcomes of disease, and including terminal illnesses. And the patient lasts significantly longer when they feel connected to their physician. I mean, but I'm stating my bias, obviously. But so I just got to say, in fairness, not everybody would say that. They would say, you got to be, it's kind of like being close enough. You don't have to be a big, significant person in life, but teach some skills. As you can see, I actually try to bridge both. So the puros, the purest humanistic folks would say I'm polluting it and losing efficacy. The other folks would say, well, that's an interesting, yeah, I do that too. I connect, but I also teach. And I use the parents because the research shows, and by the way, I'm going to give you this research, shows that in fact, of course, outcomes tend to be even better if parents are also involved. I just had a call literally on the way to work here today where the father, I'm about to see if I pass the audition with his teenager as to whether I get to see her, read the order of the court. Parents are not to be involved whatsoever in the treatment, and in fact, the therapist is not to have any contact with the parents other than to arrange appointments. Okay, and I can understand why in high conflict divorce you do that. It's totally contra my model. I'm all about the team. We are a team for your child's well-being, and even though you disagree and blah, 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 I hold these truths to be self-evident. You love your child. And again, if we had the list of how you'd want her to be at 30, your best friend subscriber, it's going to be the same. It's how we get there. But okay, court says, thou shalt not have contact. I will not have contact. How strange. Be significant. So what do I mean by that? There's at least two elements involved. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. I don't care how gifted and how talented you are. I wrote another thing to remind myself of something. I know, you're looking like, what do you write? See, that's a curious mind. It's wonderful. Serve you well in life. You gotta have time. I don't care how gifted you are. You see a kid for 3 sessions, while magic might happen, they might remember you forever more and idealizing whatever. Genuine relationships are, remember, time positively spent, or at least spent in a variety of ways, over a variety of contexts. Well, you don't have the variety of context part of it, but you do get to have time, and you do have a unique way of being with this child. And I believe that's essential for significance. You're going to see the Carl tape. Next week? Following week. I knew that I was going to see him for 9 months. So the very first day I met him, I said, I'm going to see you for 9 months. When you see Carl was about 5. That meant nothing to him. I might as well say, I'm going to see you for 9 million years. Dinosaurs have come and gone. They're going to be back. And I said, you're excited about that. You can't wait. You have a pet dino. It mattered by the time we got to the last 10 weeks. And it really mattered when it came to the last session. I told him right along because I knew I had the span of time. So one of your decision points is, how much time do I have? Now you guys have rotations. Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes a month. You're going to do more skill acquisition models probably, and that's okay. I do believe what hopefully you absorb in this class would still be useful to make that connection that you can then put other stuff on top of. So time is one factor, and I think the other is what I'm calling availability. Little pumpkins are different than the adults you see. The teenager who's now 21 that I saw yesterday, she turned 21 last Sunday. All caps. Happy B-Day. Hope you're having a fantastic time. Many, many, many happy returns. In the olden days, hi, yeah. Hey, listen, is Beverly there? Yeah, it's Dr. V, yeah. Happy birthday to you. That's availability. Now, I don't say I call every kid I've ever seen on their birthday. We'll call her, what should we call her? Marty, the 21-year-old. I've seen since she's age 12. I am unbelievably, I have the privilege, the honor of being and pleasure, being an unbelievably significant person in her life. She's lucky she's alive. She was drunk out of her mind at age 12 and passed out on a busy road at 1 in the morning. That no car, thank you universe, happened to not run her over before her friends pulled her out of the street. She was there for hours. She blooms. To whatever extent I've had any contribution to that is such an honor. Let me tell you a secret. Let me tell you a secret. And dare not use this word in supervision. I'm not saying supervision is bad. By the way, let me say that right away. Disclaimer. Never, ever, ever do anything I've ever suggested in here, ever recommended, ever, any little tool I give you. Don't ever do that out there without checking with your supervisor. Well, Volcani said, I like this thing. We're going to do snow angels, snow floor angels. This is a great idea. Let's do it. No, wait. I am not your supervisor. It might not fit at all to that particular case and that particular individual. Okay? We're all in agreement. I should get you guys to sign something. I should get a waiver here. On record here. Every one of them nod their heads. We should turn the camera. Thank you. Yeah, nod a lot so they can see it. I lost my train of thought for a second. I know I'm on Marty.
The secret.
Oh, the secret. Thank you. Oh, it's an important one. There will be clients. I feel like this is Mrs. Taylor. Remember what her mom says? She's an artist. Couldn't figure out how that was bad. There are clients, little ones and even big ones, that you are going to truly, you know what the next word's going to be? Love. You're going to love some of your clients. I don't mean inappropriately at all. Of course not. Go get help. No, I'm not talking about that at all. You're going to love, I love Marty. She knows that. She knows that in every pore of her being, and so do I. I don't tell her every time I say, oh, I love you. I didn't sign it love, by the way. I have told her that. Was on point. Of course you do. You're going to see, and why I show that grainy, hard to hear tape, you're going to see that Carl and I, Carl and me, thank you, Rory, Carl and me, love each other. You'll see him hug me and go, ooh. You'll see him say, Mommy, Mommy. And first I misinterpreted and say, oh, it sounds like you want your mommy right now. And you just keep looking at me and touching me, go, Mommy. And I go, oh, or maybe when I'm holding you like this, you wish I were your mommy, or feel that I am your mommy. Okay? That's availability. That's different than how you are with your adult clients for the most part. There are few adults, 2, 3, who I've seen for years, and I will text them happy birthday. And one of them, I even told him I loved him, because I do, and he knows that. Okay? Don't do any of that stuff without, you ever want to say, I love you, kid. You talk with your supervisor before you do that. Because guess what? And you already know this. It's not about you. I don't say that because it has anything to do about me. It's still because it's clinically important to do. It is clinically important to do. It's stating your truth about your mutual truth. And that's called congruency, which is a big deal in humanistic therapies. So, a little less heavy way of being available. So I saw this interesting kid. Poor kid was traumatized. Pumpkin. Awful mom. So he's removed from her care. He's in foster care and all that other stuff. The interesting thing about this kid, he didn't feel. Literally, physiologically, didn't feel. He literally, physiologically numbed himself out. It's astounding. He had all kinds of tests. There wasn't any neuro problem per se. The wiring's working. He ain't feeling. Unbelievable. My first introduction, he was also, you're such a sensitive soul. Your eyes are turning. Unless I misunderstood, maybe it's an allergy. By the way, it was also elective mute. Say a word. I mean, you can numb the whole system. I don't talk, I don't feel. I got out of this one. He was my 1 o'clock client. And the reason I know that is because at 12:50, I race over to the deli. I get this big submarine sandwich thing, and I pig out for the 4 minutes that I have left. And a pretty sight. Delete that one from the file. Sorry. Psycho Instagram. It's one. It's a second one. It's what's the Snapchat? Now it goes away. He happened to come in. He just walks in at 12:58, and he sees me literally at my desk. And he comes in and he stands and he looks at the sandwich. He looks at me. We all have different parts. My primal bulldog was like, "Grrr, grrr, my sandwich, my food." Fortunately, we have a PFC. I see, it looks like you really want some of this sandwich. Go get your own, kid. However, you do the subliminals. What your mom feeds you, foster mom. You're going to go home now, right? I can totally get that. Here, come break bread with me. Looks like you want the entire sandwich. We sat on the floor and we ate. And our ritual became, yeah, that's the other part of me. You gotta remember, I was an Israelite rationing, right? Getting cornflakes once every 3 months was a huge deal. I'd count the flakes. Come on. We ended up going and getting each of us a sandwich as our ritual. And then we come back and we break bread with each other. Totally different scene, same thing. My office used to be above Trattoria Aqua and El Crabcatcher. It's summer evening. It's 7 o'clock. And it's warm, the windows are open, and the food smells just wafting in. I'm seeing a teenager. If you gave him a Rorschach, what does it look like? Pizza? What does that one look like? Artichoke? What is that? I sense a theme here. Yeah, it's called hunger. I'm starving, Doc. I'm smelling all this food. Oh my God. Can we please order a slice of pizza? Absolutely. We'll order pizza. Hey, can you guys do a pizza? We'll come down, we'll get it. Came down, got it. Available. Available. It's real. By the way, Anna Freud, right? Kind of, I guess in one way, the founder of child psychotherapy. It's quite a compliment on Siggy that his daughter followed suit and, I wouldn't say matched him, but did some really smart things. Defense mechanism, blah, blah, blah. Liebchen. I can't say the whole phrase in German. I could have in high school. What do you like to eat? Cookies? What kind? Chocolate chip. And what's waiting for you the next session you come? Yeah, Anna Freud's fresh out of the oven, chocolate chip cookies. Rumor has it. That's what the books say. I don't know if it's true. You heard of Mrs. Fields? How about Dr. Freud's chocolate chip cookies? Liebchen, you have a hole in your sock. Give me here. She darns the socks and gives them back to the kid in session. It's not like adults. These are little pumpkins. You're a human being. You seem to be really nice. They'll come and hug you. Oh, now you really got to talk to your supervisor. You better have a camera on to make sure you're not doing anything untoward. You will see, as I said, you'll see Carl and I hug twice in that tape. And one's just the mold to the body. Ooh. If I said to him, I mean, just imagine this. I see you really want to hug me. I can understand. I'm glad you feel close. It's just not appropriate in our relationship. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, okay. So all this feel. Oh, okay. Huh? 3 billion years of evolution have taught us, no, don't worry, this is not appropriate in this context, so I won't hug you. But in that context, the little pumpkin comes up like this and grabs you. Oh my God, it's called child abuse. 5672191. What? It's called being iatrogenic. Love that word. You know what it means, right? The cure actually hurts. Creates more damage. Here's a kid who, when you see him, obviously has attachment issues. Duh. And you now do the rejection? Remember what feeling, what primal feeling gets evoked when you seek connection and are rejected. What's that called? You betcha. It's as bad a feeling as you're ever going to feel. You're shamed. And then if there isn't rapprochement, it becomes humiliation. And rapprochement isn't just, I see you really want to hug me. This guy's never going to sit up here again. I see you really want to. Yeah, just give me a hug, dude. Bro. And I love how men hug. I've done that man hug. They always have to go boom, boom, boom.
That's actually not how I hug ass.
Oh, very good. Okay. Oh, that's very cool, actually. You do the encounter group hug. Right. Oh, no, man. And particularly if they're homophobic, obviously. Then they've got to do that. Anyway, that would be, it's absurd. They're kids, they're little pumpkins. I call them terms of endearment. Honey poo. It just comes reflexively. It comes reflexively. I think about the impact. I'm not unaware. You gotta be aware. You do this stuff, you gotta be aware. Because they will adore you. They will adore you. I told you, one of them said this is better than going to Disneyland. No wonder, a place you can think, feel, say anything, do about anything. This guy just seems to have that lost art from an ancient tribe, really listening and attending and being with you. Never mind twinkle in the eye, the tight. Oh my God, it doesn't get better than this. Because I'm gonna hug you. But most of the time I'm on the ground with kids. Never mind take my shoes off, God knows. I'm on the ground with kids all the time. I spend most of my time on the ground. It's wonderful. And as I told you, I think I told you this already, I tend to be lower than they are. I mean, it's tiring for kids to be looking at people who look like they're 12 feet tall. You're down here. Okay, you getting this sense of availability? Can I have this? It's really important. It'll be a transitional object between us, and I'll feel connected to you even when I'm not with you. We'll talk about limits. There are times when I will give a kid something they made, absolutely. And I remember one where I gave her, I'll talk about her later, but I gave her a photo that I had of the sun coming through a tube, you see it, and it was so important to her. I gave her that. Okay, availability. Let's see which way. Any questions on this? It's making sense to you? Do you have any of your own experiences around any of that? You see kids. Any issues about, I'm sure nowadays you're basically told, and understandably, not to hug kids, not to touch them. Or you're not told that. Or,
I think
no.
Emma and I are smiling about this because of the facility we work at. There's a big emphasis on not just a side hug and limiting even the side hugs that we're allowed to give.
And telling them to ask us.
To ask us.
Oh, God.
Rejecting.
I mean, and I totally understand. I mean, I understand the climate. I understand a lot. And I just, but it's just so contra how kids are.
Of course, I bring it all the time. I give them a little more than a side hug if they need it. But actually, I'm just kidding.
Right, no, it's on tape. He was giving an example of this guy he knew, this other intern. And he wondered about the ethics of that. Never mind the efficacy. Very good. Yeah. Oh, no, because I'm sitting down, they'll come and sit in my lap. Get off my lap, kid. What? I sit in my lap. And they'll bring stuff over and whatnot. And yes, I even have been guilty of tousling their hair. They're just this size. And I haven't had one go, don't do that. And if I did, I go, I'm so sorry. I will never do that again. I will honor that boundary. Good for you. Bravo to you for speaking up for what feels right and what doesn't. That will serve you well in life, lad. It's beautiful. What am I being in that moment? Traitologist. He's exhibiting a trait that's useful at age 30, and I underscore it in that moment. I would dare say 60-80% of what I say to kids is traitology. I'm constantly looking at what traits are being exhibited now that I can underscore. That's the vitamin supplement. That's what they don't get out in the world. It's just like, yeah, omega-3, the soul. But you're going to get very good at that. You'll practice a lot of that. Yeah, no, I'm big huggings and drawings. Oh, I remember one, this was cute. They wanted, we had a copy machine. So they wanted me to put my hand and their hand together and make a copy of that. So I could be a helping hand in their life. And they put it above their bed. That's cool. Because I do use an iPad in my sessions, they do drawings and kinds of stuff. And they'll say, oh, can I have that drawing? I'll say, absolutely. And I'll email them the drawings. One of the beauties of that technology. I mean, I'm a little ambivalent about the screen versus the paper. I understand it's different. And a pure art therapist would hate me for doing that because I understand textures and all that other stuff. But that's their world and they love it. And I can just email it. And sometimes I email that to my mom. Now they know they can think they'll say anything, do about anything, and I can't tell anybody, not even mom, not even dad. They can tell anybody they want. And what mom and dad tell me, I can't tell anybody except them, neener. I tell them that right in the beginning. I tell them that in front of their parents. So I'll say, okay, if you want me to email it to your mom, I will do that. And they'll draw things like their brave part, and then they Xerox that, and copy that, print it, and then they put it up on their wall. But it's a way of making a continuum between the therapy. And the teens and the little ones too, I give them my, oh my God, I give them my cell number. My cell is basically now my business phone. In fact, the outgoing message is, this is Dr. Volcani, blah, blah, blah. My friends are like, oh, hi, Dr. Volcani. My wife's like, hi, Dr. Husband. But it's just so handy. And the amazing thing is, and I give it to the adults, that's the number I use basically. By the way, it spells T-H-A psych. The psych. It's happened, P-S-Y-C. I've rarely have it ever been abused. It's amazing. My paranoid guy, he will call sometimes late, but I can't always answer it for him. But it's amazing. And they'll text, and I text them, and that's just fine. Now again, don't ever do that without, and I'm sure in your settings, they're going to tell you, no, you don't have those kinds of relationships. And that's fine. The boundaries are different, and again, this is controversial. That people tell me that's ridiculous. It's ridiculously unbounded. They email me, I'm available. It's a relationship. It's real. That's how you establish connection. Okay? Okay. Before we take a break, we're good. We're going to take a break. Looks like it's ready. Please come back at 5 after. Perfect. Oh, and these guys are going to come at 10. That's all right. Perfect. Last class, the original email I sent you, that URL won't pick up the class. It gets been removed, as Becca nicely pointed out. But I do have now a correct URL. So if anybody needs to watch the class, I'll send you that URL. Sign-in sheets going around. By the way, we do have to start thinking about little pumpkins up here. I know we have a girl. Who's bringing a little girl? You're bringing your daughter or something, yes?
I'm sorry,
Little pumpkins up here.
Oh,
about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's not my daughter, but
No, okay, perfect. So it's a girl though, yes? So, wow, that's really impressive, and that's soon. It's kind of like that three-dimensional printer now, for babies. And just like, wow, that's really cool. So I need a boy though. We need a boy, please. Sorry? I'm not totally sure yet, but I think it's in 3 weeks.
Is it before spring break?
Sorry?
Is that before spring break?
Oh, I don't know. It'll probably be after then. When's spring break?
The 26th.
Oh, then yes, but no, then it'll be after. Because that's just 2 weeks from now, isn't it? Something. We'll figure it out. But I know you're going to need a definite date, so I understand that. By next week, we should know a definite date. But we need a boy, a little boy. Ages somewhere between 3 to 5, something like that. Till we're 6. Please. I know. Think about friends, neighbors, siblings that might have kids, or know somebody has kids, little pumpkin. Parents are welcome to come.
and what were the ages again?
Somewhere between 3 and 6, just until we're 6. Right. I think it's probably it's going to be 4 weeks because we're going to miss a class for spring break. So I will give you the specific date. Sounds like there's a possibility. Thank you. All right. Sorry to take up time. You're looking at. Oh, don't miss that one. But we'll work out the mechanics on this. I promise you. So here we go. Ready? Very superstitious. What's that an example of? Our desire to have causative agency. We believe we can control the universe by doing all these funny things that we dang well know. And I know that the Super Bowl ad had it. It's only superstitious if it didn't work. But that's a great example of our unbelievable need to be in charge of the universe. So if we just do this ritual, that ritual, every one of us, including myself, will say, like if I said, well, we're going to all get home tonight safely. Every one of you wanted to go, oh, that's not wood. Even though you know it has nothing to do with it. So what brain area is being evoked in that moment? It's not the prefrontal cortex, I'll tell you that much. That's the logic mind. It's your orbital frontal. It's your magic mind. that hopes if I somehow do this, I'll make it for sure that we're all going to get home safely. Because I'm the causative agent of the universe. Isn't that interesting? All right. More about time for a second. I myself prefer duration over frequency. I would rather see a kid for 6 months every other week than for 3 months every week. I want to be a part of their lives, be significant. We're seasonal creatures anyway. We're kind of like spring. We're already thinking, oh yeah, we're spring. You're already starting to think about summer. A lot of times when I do parenting plans, I was talking about somebody about, I'm going to do reunification therapy. I look at it in groups of, by summer, I was telling the attorneys yesterday on a conference call, by summer I'm looking at more normalization, somewhere in summer, even in overnight. Okay? More about availability. You're going to be hearing more about Carl, because you're going to be seeing Carl. So I had 9 months. So when I was about to leave, in that last 10 weeks, and certain months, I showed him, this was way before Google Earth, a map. It's on paper. It's this really strange looking thing, and it's a drawing, it's really strange. I said, here you are, Sacramento, Cal, and I'm going to go down here to La Jolla, California. And then I'm going to go to Michigan, which is called way over here. No waves. Well, actually, there's waves in Lake Michigan. That's where I'm going to go. I am going to send you a postcard. Again, there's no text. There's none of that stuff. There's no emails. It's called the U.S. mail. And not to be confused with U.S. female, but nonetheless. And I'm going to send you a postcard when I get there. And say, hi, Carl. Thinking of you. I carry you in my heart wherever I go. And then I'm going to send you a Christmas card. They were Christians, I'll send you a Christmas card. And then, I know your birthday is on February, I think it was 12th. I'm going to send you a birthday card. And then it's totally up to you. You can contact me. So I'm going to give you my parents' address in La Jolla. Because they'll always be there, and I'll always be able to get mail if you want to give me that. When you see the Carl tape, and you see that I actually had the camera the whole time on him, because I'm doing the tape I usually did with him. And you see when he goes off camera, and he goes, I'm sorry, I usually had the monitor on with him. Usually you don't, you turn those monitors off, it's distracting. With him I had it on, because when he's off monitor, he goes, where's Carl? Where's Carl? Talk about object constancy issues. He doesn't see himself, and he doesn't know where he is, so you'll hear me say, you're right here, you're right here. And I touch him, so he knows his body self. You're right here. It's as if when you don't see yourself, it's as if you don't exist. You're right here. You betcha I'm going to send him a postcard. It doesn't just end when I go goodbye. We've spent now 9 months forming this close attachment. Mommy, mommy, mommy. And then I'm like, okay, see you, dude. Been fun. That's called iatrogenic. That's called traumatic. You're crazy. So I send him a postcard. So I give him, and I send him, and I did. Oh, I did. And I did hear from him once. He sent me a card, and it looks like Toys R Us. C-A-R, and the R is reversed, L. Okay. Let me give you another little side acronym. Well, yeah, I'll do it now. PETA. There is countertransference. Again, these kids are very gratifying. Yeah, I'm doing all this stuff. This assures me that it's really not about me. I'm not doing that postcards. I'm thinking, oh, Carl's gonna just love getting a postcard from me. Marty's so excited to get a text from me, happy birthday. I'm so important in her life. Pain in the ass. I'm sorry, it's a pain in the ass for me, of all people. My inner administrator, as I was telling her, is probably one of the weakest parts of my inner White House. Oh my God. Keep me, Jesus. And this is before I could put it with a reminder in my cell phone to have everybody's birthdays reminded. I have to keep track of this because I'm not going to let him down. It's a pain in the ass, but it's important clinically for his well-being. It's not about me. And I remembered all 3 times. And I have one of those old day calendars, so I wrote in big red, remember, send Carl. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Because it's important for him. So know the pain in the ass factor. I'm going to give you another one in terms of availability. Again, don't do this without supervisor's consent. I call her my dancer. I met her when I was doing a postdoc internship in county mental health. She was 12. She got on the roof and she wanted to fly and just let it all go. So I did the intake. I was assigned to her as her therapist. And in those days, hospitalizations were 2 to 3 months. Oh my God. I know, not 2 or 3 days. She was there for 2 months. I worked with her on a basically daily basis. She's the one that I told you I gave her that the sun off of the wave. It was so important to her that there's light in the dark and all that stuff. She was you look at her and you know she's a dancer. She has these stockings on. She looks like a post-hippie. She was fabulous. I loved her. And she was dancing on the roof and wanted to fly. So I worked with her in that setting. She then was transferred to a group home. I worked with her on a weekly basis out of that setting. She then went back to the home. She was doing very well. Again, she was very metaphoric, very mystical. She's very, very shy. But she's gifted as an actress. And she actually gets the lead in this play in high school. And she does it. Dr. V, can you please come and see my play? I came and saw her play. I'm sorry, pain in the ass. Given my schedule and everything else, but absolutely. I came and saw her play, and she was very excited that I saw her play, blah, blah, blah. Because there's no YouTube that I get to see the play on YouTube, which I do now, see that kind of stuff. That's a different kind of availability now. If kids do something and it's on YouTube, I'll say, show me, let me see that. Wow, how cool. I have one who's a horse person, and she shows, and it's on YouTube. And she wants to look. I go, oh, whoa. So that's now a different availability, nonetheless. She goes off to college. She sends me letters every once in a while, postcards and whatnot. She graduates. She sends me a picture. And of course, perfect her. She's got the gown on and all that, and then she has this really unique tassel, and she's on roller skates. Of course, she's on roller skates. We'll call her, whatever, Kimmy. She's a unique spirit. Years go by, a year or two. I get a note. I'm the lead in a play at the Old Globe. Here are the reviews. I would love it if you came. Because the reviews are stunning. She's fantastic. She's fantastic. I come. Of course I come. I come with flowers. No, not red roses or anything like that. A nice, colorful bouquet. And I give them at the end. They go backstage. That's availability. Now, I don't do that with all my clients. I mean, talk about being the there's a time. But with some folks, again, before you get your license, you're going to glance at Milton Erickson's, Jay Haley, who followed Milton Erickson and wrote the book called Uncommon Therapy. You're going to glance. You're just going to open on random. She's done it. Open random page and just start reading. There's a lot of ways to do this engagement, this witnessing. Okay, so that's the availability. And that's that. So let's talk about something mundane, and that's the physical environment. So you've decided, yes, this kid is appropriate for individual play therapy. I'm going to commit to this kid for hopefully at least 6 months. I'm going to be available in various appropriate ways, checking it out with my supervisor or otherwise. So physical environment, obviously you need a playroom. I divide up my office. You should see a picture. I have the good fortune, again, of looking at the deep blue sea right out of my office is La Jolla Cove. It's unbelievable. If you want to have a postcard of the cove, just come and take a picture. It's the 50-yard line of the Super Bowl on 4th of July, because that's where the fireworks are. It's unbelievable. You can probably rent it out for $1,000. Anyway, so adults have the seat and they kind of look out there. Over here, oh my God, it's a menagerie of stuffed animals. Huge ape, big bears, all kinds of animals. Get plush animals. It's really cool if you get big animals, by the way. That was expensive. One of them was given to me by a student who won it at the fair. Had no idea what to do with it. This huge ape. I drove it home in my Porsche. It was bigger than the car. No, literally. It was above the windshield and the arm around me. People are honking. Would have been a good YouTube. And then it's interesting just walking it through town, just the reactions you get. Talk about evoking the playful mind. Oh, monkeying around. I mean, just, I mean, all kinds of reactions. It's amazing how quickly we can evoke the inner child. Kids use it to build forts. That's awesome. Again, these are kids. So I have tarps that they can overlay, and I have blankets and stuff you can overlay and create forts in my office. Kid also used it once to not have any contact with his dad during unification therapy by building a fortress of stuffed animals around himself. So dad couldn't even see him in the reflection of the window. Wanted to make sure he could not see him. All right, so you have stuffed animals. You have different themes, obviously. Obviously you're gonna have toys, duh, yeah, play therapy. So there's different themes. Yeah, if you want to go psychoanalytic, you got oral themes. So yes, I have a baby bottle with that fascinating, how does the milk disappear when you turn it upside down? It's all gone. The cap's only this big, the milk's that big. It's Piaget. How are we going to do this? Do you know the secret, by the way? Do you know that? You ever seen it? You know the secret. What's the secret, Paul?
At least I think it's that there's a lining between the bottle and the
On the nose. It looks like this whole big bottle. And if you look from here, you go, oh, I get it. There's a lining, so it's really only that much, enough to fill in there. Anyway, say what? There's your thesis. Very good. Wow, fantastic. Can't wait for that publication. It's going to take you far in your career. You'll be the bottle man. You'll be famous. There's the marshmallow man. There's the bottle man. Never mind. Anyway, so that's important. Oral themes. I have cutlery. And I can say this word. Cutlery. You know, spoons and forks and plates and phony food. I got to tell you, the fried egg exactly looks like a fried egg. I can feel the cholesterol as I look at that thing. They love it. You got to eat. It's important, man. It's primal. These are kids. Here comes the controversy. I mean, again, we look at development. That's oral phase. Now we get into anal phase. Oh, actually, controversy is next. The first we'll go anal phase. Paints. Well, I used to have lots of paints. In fairness, I now mostly use that. I will admit. But I do have clay. I used to use a thing called plasticine, and now I have, it's really good stuff. I'll tell you what the name is later. Because it dries, but doesn't get all stinky and weird. And when you see the Tara tape, you'll see she left part of the collection. She used to make these and put them in my office. Even though she understood other kids, she wanted other kids to see it. So I used to have these collections of little gargoyles and stuff that kids would make. Then one kid came and destroyed them all. Thank you very much. Then you have the phallic stage, or whatever stage you want to call that, the edible stage, whatever. Here's the controversy. To gun or not to gun? What do you think? You're going to gun or not gun? You have guns in the playroom or not? And I'm sorry, I'm setting it up like a right-wrong answer. It's not a right-wrong answer. It's not correct or incorrect. What are you thinking? You're thinking. It's worth thinking.
I guess I'd want to have them there depending on what kids coming in, like what their experience is.
Okay. Any contrary thoughts? Or more yes for sure's? Or what are you thinking? Because they'll come up. Is that
Yes,
it?
I have guns.
Okay, yes, you have guns. We should have a vote, a forum to gun or not to gun. I have guns, absolutely have guns. You can think, feel, say anything, do just about anything. This is a safe and sheltered space to express your truths. Guess what? One of their truths is, and by the way, if you don't have guns, they'll take this and go, look out! Ha! Ha! Laser beam. Ha! And if they don't have that, guess what? There is no evidence that says doing any of that is going to create serial killers at all. To the contrary, as a matter of fact. You don't allow expression of that, you have a problem, more likely. And we'll get to that when we talk about humanism and the whole assumptions about development of self. Because guess what? I don't know, have any of you ever shot a gun, by the way? No. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing feeling. I mean, a real gun. Pretty amazing feeling. I went through, actually, quickly, what's it? Ontology recapitulates phylogeny, I think it is. Or maybe it's the other way around. I know. Fancy for it. Is it right? I got it right. Oh, God. The individual repeats the entire developmental phase of the species. And I will never forget my mom, when I was in Israel, showing me how, we called them Indians at the time, now we call them Native Americans, move to hunt in such a slow fashion that even a deer watching them wouldn't notice. And by the time I came to this country and was 8 years old, I was 7 actually, by the time I was 8, I was allowed to have a bow and arrow. I went to the backyard and I set up targets. And then I was eventually allowed to have a hunting arrow. And I prized this sharp-pointed thing. And I got archery magazines and I was obsessed. But then, primal man moved on. And I got my first BB gun. And it was a BB pistol. And I set up a tin can. And I could see the BB move through the air. Bing! Oh, yeah! And then I got a BB rifle, and it had a real wood stock and a holder. Oh, my God! And I would polish that thing and oil it up. And my best buddy, Joe, his birthday's November 3rd, you'll see why. Oh, my God! We'd go out, I'm now in La Jolla, California, Abalone Place, where I lived. I now live on the corner there, actually. We would hunt. Oh my God, we would go around the neighborhood. And right now you did that, it's called a SWAT team. Helicopters and everything would descend on Bird Rock Avenue if you did that now. In those days, when we had those things called antennas, and I'd shoot at the antenna, oh my God, what am I being? Causative agent. It's not about aggression. It's about, I can make something happen way over there. Wow, am I powerful? Bam, wow. That's what it's mostly about. I'm not saying there's not any aggressive aspect to it or whatever, but mostly what it is about for kids is power. Being a causative agent in this amazing way. From here to eternity, I can make something happen over there. 4:30 in the morning. Now I'm at the Muirlands home. Now I'm about 12. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, okay? I feel really bad. I did eventually transcend. I would shoot dove. And my dear sweet mom said, you pluck it, I'll cook it. Oh yeah, I didn't want to just kill him. It's not about killing, it's about eating. I'm a primal man. And by the way, it tastes pretty good. I was always fascinated to find the bullet, to find the BB. I know, come on. I did say, can we do a little like bonfire thing? She said, no, that's going too far. I'm going to bake it in the oven. It looked like this little tiny micro turkey. She even put a little onion stuffing thing. Bless her heart. Thank you, Mom. By the way, years later, I said, Mom, why? She was a radical pacifist, radical left-wing pacifist. She had a magazine that would come to the house from China. I was so embarrassed. I think my friends find out she's a communist. She wasn't a communist, but because China was like Albania. I mean, there's no way. So I said, could you please have it sent to work, your work? Where the mailman would see it. She's such a liberal, but she allowed. I said, why in the world would you allow? She said, look, knowing you, if I said, no, you can't have guns, the moment you turned 18, you would be a lifetime member of the NRA. I trusted in you, and I knew it would be okay. Did I do the Nobel speech thing for you guys? About trust and faith? Let me do this very quick. I'm sorry I'm going over here, but it's really important, because it's an enormously important aspect, not only of parenting, but of being a therapist. Here's what you never want to happen. Wow, I really want to thank the Nobel Committee for this beyond incredible honor of the Nobel Peace Prize. And I understand at age 22, I guess I'm the youngest recipient, kind of blown away. So I know the cameras are on and the web is and 3 billion people are watching. So I just want to say this to my parents. I told you I'd make something myself. Fuck you. You never want that to happen, ever. Zhunk. Here's, of course, what you want to happen. And any one of you could get up and do the next speech I'm going to do. Wow, I want to thank the Nobel Committee for this unbelievable honor. 22 Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, obviously beyond an honor. But let me say the obvious. Since I hope they're watching. Obviously this is absolutely for, never mind peace in the world, but for my parents who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself at all. Thank you. Oh man, 6 billion eyes. Let's do the double, 2 eyes. 6 billion eyes are going, oh God. Yeah. I hope my kid says that about me. Honey, I believe in you, boy. Believe in them when they don't believe in themselves. Believe in the part of them that could win the Nobel Prize. Doesn't make them a better human being, but it makes them follow their heart, hopefully. But I digress. Where was I? believe. God. It's terrible. Where was I?
You killed a bird.
Bird. Thank you. That's why I repressed the memory. Boy, my analyst would love that. She believed in me. I did end up with 22s. So Joey and I are now with 22s on bikes. And where UTC is now was total wild fields. Why didn't we invest? It was probably $3 an acre. Total wild fields. And there were quail out there. Okay, I'm so sorry. There was a bunny. I know. It was the last thing I ever killed. I felt so bad. I looked at it. He looked up. It wasn't dead yet. Oh my God. I know. It's terrible. This is worse than the butterfly story.
It's a red flag.
It's terrible. Red flag. Animal killing. Absolutely. Oh my God. Maybe he's a serial killer. Oh my God. Did he wet his bed? To what age? No. I read, what is it, in Cold Blood, Truman Capote? I felt horrible. That's the difference. I felt horrible. I literally cried. And that was the last thing I've ever, that was it. That was done. This very morning, not to be self-grandiosizing, I'm reading and what do I see? A little ant. And I absolutely, pain in the ass, got up from my hand, went out, opened the door, enjoy your day, little ant. I felt bad killing a little ant. What gives me the right to take that little... No, but when there's 3,000 of them on my sink, I'm so sorry. Modern warfare. I'm sorry. No, it's like, God, I'm sorry. And I feel bad. I imagine all these little ant spirits going, even though, I don't believe, but still. Faith, she's right. I went through it. Woo! Sorry, now he's being aggressive and throwing his pen. I went, thanks. I'll get it if you could pick it up. Thanks. So I went through those phases, and now I'm a fanatical pacifist. I kill sometimes fleas and sometimes mosquitoes. Okay? Okay. So to gun? Yes, to gun. Absolutely to gun. They're going to gun anyway. Here's the bind. First I have to ask the parents. The parents need to know what's going on in that office. And I'll say, I do have guns. I had one when they said absolutely not. And of course, it was a divorced couple. There were 2 moms. And one mom, excuse me, was a karate black belt aficionado. And she was like, absolutely guns. And of course, the other mom was absolutely not. So I said, what's the compromise here? So for a while, it was, well, when she brings them, you can do guns. When I bring them, no guns. And then she realized, so we did that for a little while. And then the kid was complaining to her. So she said, okay, only guns that don't look like guns. Okay, well, I have some, you'll see, I'll bring them. You'll have some Star Wars guns. I have this other one that looks like a real gun. We even took out the orange tab thing. This gun should not be in the street. Oh, it's unbelievable. And the kids, of course, that's the gun they love. Oh my God. They go, is that a real gun? What's my response to that? What's the first thing I say? Is that a real gun?
It's whatever you want.
That's really good. Yes, that's also true. The first thing I'll say is, boy, it looks like it's really exciting to you. You really wish that was a real gun. However, unfortunately, it's not. Actually, fortunately for me. But you can have it be whatever you want in here. And I understand that would be really exciting. Remember the affect. Always respond to, again, the prosody. Always respond to, looks like that's exciting to you. Because you got to remember, you connect at the right brain. You don't connect at the left brain. You think about your connections and all that, but connection is right brain. When I say bimonic, it's right brain. When I go, excited, I'm being bimonic. I'm reflective. I'm not totally bimonic, so I'm being reflective. I go with him. And I do a lot of that, as you'll see. So yes, I gun. Yes, please.
You mentioned several times you can say, do, feel, whatever you want.
Correct.
What are some of the things that you don't
You're
want?
going to be, you're being prescient. We're going to talk about exactly that, limits. So I'm going to go through the physical environment, then I'm going to go through the emotional environment, which will include limits, because that's really important, obviously. Okay, so obviously I have toys. I only in the last, I don't know what it's been, maybe 5 years, maybe it's been 10 years, have discovered the wonders of Playmobil. Oh my God, it's fabulous. Get Playmobil stuff. Homes, and you'll see, it's from Lego. The problem with Legos for me, by the way, is they take the entire session to build the thing, and that can be fun. Then, of course, the next kid's going to want to tear it down. And then the kid's hurt, why come my thing isn't saying, it just got, no. So I don't do Legos much. I do Playmobil. And you construct it, and you'll see, you'll bring in the Playmobil stuff. It's fabulous. Just go Playmobil.com. It's fabulous stuff. Because you want things that express things like family. So you want, obviously, a house, a little house, obviously. Did you guys ever have that farmhouse that goes moo when you open the door? Yeah, I know. And we got that. Moo. We got little animals. I got cuddly little bunnies. I got dragons. I got police puppets. Puppets are great. I got a doctor puppet. I got a fireman puppet. Right? We got to have saviors here. I got a doctor's kit. If you're going to have a gun, you got to have a doctor's kit. Again, I'm no researcher, but I always realized when I watched kids, it's a really different kid that goes, bang, bang, oh, let me heal you. Then the kid that goes, let me heal you, ha! The frequency count for aggression is identical. It's a different kid. Order matters. And they like gizmos, they like stuff. So I have a doctor's kit that has the blood pressure measure and the eye thing and all kinds of stuff. They like that stuff. Okay, so we got that. Oh yeah. They like toy money, because money is empowering, causative agency. They like handcuffs. And I think I told you, I mean, the kid who comes in, talk about limits. Kid who comes in, he was about 12, and he loved to go to these shops that sell real police stuff. And he came in with these handcuffs, real handcuffs, and the biggest gleam in his eye. And he looked at me. And what did I say? It looks like, and it looks like you would like to, you betcha. Looks like you're really excited about that. I can see that while it's raining. It looks to me like my senses, I could be wrong. You want to handcuff me. God, you're so astute, dog. Boy, your clinical acumen. And what do I say next? No! God, that's fine. You guys are comfortable? That's great. No, I didn't put it that way. I said, I totally get how exciting that would be. Not comfortable. And he goes, I love this. I remember this really verbatim. He goes, why not? I got the keys. And I say, exactly. You have the keys. I don't. Just doesn't feel comfortable. I get, now I have the toy handcuffs, and I know it's not near as good. I totally get that. I'm totally willing. You can handcuff me anytime on the toes. Because he knows and I know I can get out anytime. Clank, I'm out. Okay, so there was a limit for you. But handcuffs are wonderful. Anything that facilitates the magic mind. We're going to do poetry here, man. We're going to sing songs here, man or woman. So what can facilitate? I don't have a lot of instruments. I used to, but I don't so much now. But they'll sing and whatnot. They will, I don't have a lot of costumes, but I have some. I'm sorry, get a tablet. Do you know that you have to keep your records till all your little pumpkins are 25 years old, 7 years after majority? I see 3-year-olds. Do the math on that one. 22 years? Oh my God. So as we speak, right now I'm paying $175 a month to a storage facility. Before I had these, actually before this, I actually way back when got into, they were laptops that had what we called Journal, Windows Journal, so you could actually write on it. It was way before these. Thank you, Steve Jobs, because this is even better. And so I have a storage, just boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff. And the worst of all, while I do have it by year, they're not alphabetized. God forbid somebody ask me for, Indiana Jones, man, I'm going through the code words to try and get this stuff. I don't know. It's insane. Along comes Duke Pen. There are other writing programs. I love Duke Pen. Because not only can you write, but, here, I'll show you. Come here, Duke Pen. Yes. So, child TX, and you can use your finger, or you can use, sounds like an infomercial. You can use your finger, or you can use a stylus. And furthermore, smile. Thank you. Take a picture. There it is. And now it's suddenly included in the file. Yes, I'm going to delete everything. Don't worry. It's not going to YouTube or anyplace else. I promise. It's fantastic. Thank you. It's a fantastic thing. It's extremely useful. So get that. Any other things you guys use in your play therapy? Other objects, physical environment.
Well, I don't know about objects, but Uno. My kids really like Uno.
Games. Okay, yeah, that can be real. Late stage kids, I tend not to play formalized games with little pumpkins. There are a lot of therapeutic games.
They're older.
Yeah, they're older. There are a lot of therapeutic games. I have them in my office. I've rarely used them. The kids don't tend to go there. But there are those who do, and that's fine. There's kids, as you know, there's imagination, not imagination. Imagination Press has tons of very creative, it's kind of a cognitive behavioral approach to little pumpkins. Sorry?
I have a big, huge mirror.
Oh yeah, mirror's wonderful. As I said, I have a mirror. Oh, I have a, of course, talk about it, I have a punching bag. Not Bobo. Bobo lasts 3.8 minutes, and then Bobo's pop. Bye-bye, Bobo. They ought to call him bye-bye, because he's gone. So I have a bag that's light enough that I can hold. And by the way, what kids love, and I will get to you, Paul, kids love, ooh, you just kicked me. Oh, you just caught me right in the nose, you're punching my nose. Oh, they just go crazy when you voice for the bag. And they'll jump on, they'll grab them, they throw them to the ground. They're like, oh, ooh, you get me, and yes, ooh, you got me right in the noogies. And if you don't say noogies, they're going to look and they're going to keep going until you finally say yes in the privates. We'll get to that when we get to qualities about therapists and whatnot. They are going to do that. They're little pumpkins. They fart with great glee. They try and fart in your face. These are kids, they're little pumpkins. They don't say, excuse me, think, feel, say anything, do about anything. What's your policy on farts? Come on, let's get down to this. I've heard your policy on guns. How are you on farts? To fart or not to fart? You ask them to squeeze it or what? You know, like, don't fart. How about boogers? Oh yeah, they like to pull little boogers. Look at this one. They're kids. I do ask them, I see how much fun it is. Always, always, always value and validate. Reflexively reflect. I see it's really fun for you. You'd probably like to smear this, that booger all over me in the room. Not comfortable. Here's the cleanest you can do instead. You want to draw boogers all your heart's delight. Same with the fart. I say fart. If you're really going to intentionally fart, open the door, because I have a door to the outside, and just stick your booty out and fart away, dude. Because when they do fart, I go, oh my God, I fall right to the floor and I go, hot air rises, thank God, it's going up to the ceiling. Okay, there's a lot of books for kids. It's imagination to have some, like there's one something about the cool penguin. It's obviously for cooling down for anger. So you get the little penguin and it's too long. I've tried it for some kids and they're just like, okay, I'm done with that. It's great. I understand the concept. So I don't use books a lot. If they want to read, of course. I'd rather have them make their own book. We draw, do a lot of drawings, kids. But we'll get to that more in techniques. Okay, I think we've covered physical environment. Let me go through my list really quick and see if there's anything obviously that I missed. Playmobil, puppets, guns, punching bag. Well, I have a bataka. Clay, oh, how could I forget this? Oh my God. Oh, two things. One is I do have a tent. Sand World, also known as Sand Tray. Oh my God. Thank God, in this day and age, of all that screening and all those video games and all that stuff, the favorite thing for most kids in my office, and the thing that mesmerizes them as soon as they walk in the door, because as soon as you walk in, you see a Sand World. Oh, what's that? Oh, wow. And they just go right into the magic mind. We're going to do a Sand World together when we get to Jung. So you'll see some of that power of that magic mind. So yes, I have a Sand World. By the way, way back when you're, instead of a final, you had a reaction, a final reaction, a project you had to do, one of the students made a miniature Sand World that you could carry with you anywhere. And he actually had some puppets. It was kind of like a little miniature, a portable, is a better way to put it, a portable playroom. I said, market it, dude, and pay off those student loans. So, yes, Sand World. I can't imagine not having a Sand World when I work with little puppets. So let's talk about the psychological or emotional environment. You're trying to achieve a sense, if you're doing this style, and again I'm talking more about relationally based therapies, a safe, which means psychologically safe and sheltered space. Space to express and explore whatever is important, your truth that I can witness and join in. Safe and sheltered space. So you're trying to create an environment of psychological safety. Here we go. You can think, feel, say absolutely anything. And do almost anything. I don't outline, we'll get to limits in a moment, but I don't outline all the things they can't do on day one. Here's a disclaimer, would you sign at the bottom? When it comes up, I'll bring it up. So you obviously value and validate. You reflexively reflect. This is, remember way back that formula? And on the bottom of the formula was C for comfort or warmth. That's what this is. It's all that stuff that's good parenting. You comfort, you resonate, you're attuned, all of that. The limits are going to be, by the way, that respect one. And again, the spunkier the kid, the more they need respectful parameters. Why the fostering autonomy? Of course, because it accentuates the causative agency. Okay? We'll spend a lot of time on the specifics of this when we get to humanistic, next week. So now let's talk about limits. What are some limits you would have? Since you can think, feel, say anything, do just about anything, what are some what you believe to be respectful, appropriate limits, structurings? Thou shall nots.
Physical hurting, if the child's hurting you.
Yeah. Ouch.
What's yours versus theirs? Like kids that want to take things from your office?
You mean like this?
Like every time, yeah.
This is really cool.
It's yours now.
Wow, really? Thank you.
Well, that's what the kids always say. At least a lot of them.
Right, that's very cute. So by the way, also ouchie goes both ways, both to you and to themselves. Kid gets angry and there's that time. I know that, again, I understand it would be fun for you to hit me. And the more you're setting the limit, by the way, the more you're setting the limit, the more you gotta up the volume on valuing and validating the underlying feelings, perceptions, and motives that underlie this action. I get how you'd want to bite me. I totally understand. We talked about biters. Do you know what to do when somebody bites you? Oh, you don't know. I'm going to teach you this very quickly. It might be the most practical thing you ever learned in this class. Biters go, oh! I have a scar right there on my arm. Your dear old, we'll call him Brian, bit me hard. St. George Homes, this Union-based residential center, we used to go to Herrick Hospital on a weekly basis for tetanus shots. They all knew I was a Georgian. Got bit again. Kid bite you? The reflex is to pull. Yeah. Worst thing you can do, you just gotta tear your fin. Go, "Ugh." I know that's cruel, but it gets them to stop biting you, because that's crueler. That's disrespectful to your boundary and ultimately to them. So, the real smart ones learn. They just try it like this, the skin on top. So you just go like this. Those little moray eels, they just curve on and cling on. You're like, ah! So it still gets them easier than trying to pull out. So, thou shalt not hurt yourself or my. But I can totally understand your wish. Then you give a moment. I get it. I get you'd love it to be a real gun. You'd love to be able to shoot that when they have a break. That's the other thing. We'll get to yours. But thou shalt not break things in here. I mean, it's so obvious. So let's say I really did want this pen. What do you say? I really want this pen. It's really pretty. Go. What do you say?
You must really like that pen.
I do.
See that you really want it.
I do.
It'll serve you well in life. That you really want. You know what you want.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Actually, I wasn't ready for that one yet.
Unfortunately, I'm going to need to use this pen.
Okay, I'll loan it to you. Not a problem. No. Yeah, I'll loan it to you for the session. In fact, anytime I'll bring it every time I come back. I'll always have it so you can use it when we're together. Is that okay then?
Yeah.
Cool. So at the end of the session, I get the pen.
And
I'm loaning it to you.
You're the therapist and the kid is.
You are the therapist. I'm the kid. I'm a really precocious 10-year-old.
Yeah, okay, so I see that you really like this and it's really special to you. I'll make sure that I keep it for you each week and have it here.
No, I'll take it and then I'll bring it back each week. And you can always use it whenever I come back.
Unfortunately, I'm going to need to use it.
Why? You can have other pens. Why? Why? Don't you like me? Don't you care about me?
I really care about you and I wish.
Then give me the pen.
But I don't need to show you I love you by giving you the pen.
Why not? What part of his brain is now? You're doing fabulous. What part of his brain is being activated? I guarantee I don't need an fMRI. His amygdala is being activated. It's okay. It's totally understandable. Always go for the affect. Always go for the affect. What affect am I starting to show?
You must be really frustrated that you...
Yeah, and I'm upset and you look really sad. Pumpkin, 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 pumpkin. I had no idea the pen was so important to you. I'm going to play psychologist for a moment. Oh my God. I think it's more than the pen. I think you want to feel connected to me. And I'm glad you want to feel connected. You probably want to feel connected to a lot of folks that you don't feel connected to. And so this pen becomes this way of being connected. It becomes really important. So when I say no, it's like I'm saying no to you, to your soul, your beingness. And you feel totally rejected. I'm so sorry you feel rejected.
That's what I...
Where do you... Yeah, just like you said. Hang on, let me go. I have this tape. Let me just see. Oh, yeah, okay. So like I was saying, go for the affect and then go for what's underlying that affect. Because I mean, this thing about a pig. And it's not just about this, it's probably about in the world. And you feel, I'm so sorry if you feel. And then I would do, by the way, my next move is, I care tons. Where here? Where in your selfness do you feel my care? Or where do you want to feel? Well, here's my care. Where can I put it? Right. Kids, dude, we're going for it. That's funny. Oh, I did do the man thing, though. I did so reflexive. But yes, it's within. Kids are very concrete. They're very literal. Make it real for them. What part of the brain is doing this now? Where am I now? No, I won't do it to you. It's okay. That actually will get to that limit because kids will grope you. What part of the brain are we in? What part of the brain have we just moved into? Yeah, the magic mind, the orbital frontal. This is fun. This is magic mind. Prefrontal knows that I can't take my care, make it concrete, and put it there. Magic mind doesn't know that. It's there. And it fills the soul. Our eyes gleam. We're connecting. It's real. Even this was real for that second. That's cool. That's fabulous. Now he doesn't say, you can have a pen. It's okay. Okay? You see how exhausting this would be? To do 5 or 8 sessions in a row with little pumpkins? It's exhausting. But it's fantastic. You connect us bimonic. We were like, yeah, man. And we all laugh. We're all bimonic. We're polymonic in that moment. We're all in that same yeah space. We love that space. That heals. You want to know what heals? That heals what just happened. Okay? Okay, so no, I don't give most things, but I'll find a way to work around that. And I'll keep looking. Where are we with that? Are we okay with that? Yeah, no, but I mean yeah. That's good. Boundary boring. What's real? What's not real? Are we playing? Are we acting? Are you down? Are we therapy? Whatever. Because it doesn't just stop there. I kept checking in. You'll see Carl get really mad at me. It's one of the joys of that tape. He screams. I have to pick him up. I have to take him away from the blackboard. He's throwing chalk all over the place. I'm off camera. You're thinking when I come back, just totally vanquished. He's like, ah, and you'll hear me say, I know you're so upset. You hate it when I said lemmings to you. I wasn't as much of a tradeologist. I loved how you said right away, it'll serve you well. You know how to, what's important to you and what's not. All right, so don't break. Don't take, for the most part. Don't grope. They will do that. They'll it's like, I know you're curious. I know I'm not comfortable. Paul?
Exposing yourself or masturbating.
Oh, I'm so glad on both ends of that, by the way. And here's what I mean by that. It sounds so crazy. Dear sweet Carl, I'm so glad you brought that up. 4 months into the therapy, he suddenly says, I forgot what he called it. Can I see your dong? And first I didn't get it. He goes, your dong. And I said, oh, you want to see my dong? Oh, okay, why don't you say it? Oh, got it. Now, I will tell you, and when you see the tape, this will all make sense. For 1 infinitesimal microsecond, it's like, yeah, sure. I mean, because it was so innocent. Fortunately, prefrontal cortex, never mind dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, kicks in and goes, and I imagine Tom Morrison, my Yale-trained, marvelous but very proper supervisor, would come walk in and go, there went that. Go back to flamenco guitar. Try that one. I know how curious you are. I see how you want to see. I totally get it. I'm happy. We can draw schlongs if you want, dongs. You can draw. We can sculpt it. I know this joke is not enough clay. Sorry. We can delete, cut. You can ask your dad, you want to go see a schlong, whatever. I'm not comfortable. He dropped it. And then, oh, smart lad, and remember this when you see this tape, because you'd never think you would think this. I have to go pee-pee. Oh, okay. That wasn't uncommon. Goes to the bathroom, and of course I have to go accompany him. Then he looks at me and goes, and now you. I said, that's so smart of you. You figure, well, not in the office, but here in the bathroom, people are, pulling their dongs out. I don't need to go pee-pee, and I'm just still not comfortable. But I appreciate that you're so curious. You never asked again. But yeah, they will do that. Never mind, they'll touch themselves. Right. What do you do with that? So Paul, what do you do with that?
That happened a couple of times at one of the places I was at, and it's mainly just saying that it's not time for that. That's something you do at home or you talk to your parents about. But just saying, no, that needs to be put away. And
Yeah.
usually it would happen in a group, so it's more.
Oh God, that's a whole other issue.
Or,
Right. That's really tricky. I know it's fun. I mean, it's almost like the Stolic with the cigarette. I know it's fun to show it, and you're having. And again, I look for the affect. If he's like, oh, look at mine. I'm glad you're proud of your pee-pee. Not in here, dude. So sorry. You can draw it. You can show it. Again, try to find some partial gratification there. So I haven't actually had a lot. I have kids that'll pull their pee-pee more. They're just kind of anxious. By the way, this is really important. When they are doing, because the other one is you can say anything. Oh, they'll test that one right away. Really? I think I told you. Can I say the F word? Yeah, shit. And they'll try words. When we used to do group therapy at Southwood, they would stand in front of the group therapy room as if they had to go to the bathroom. And as soon as they got in, fuck, shit. I say, okay, what do we need? 5 minutes of it? Can we fuck shit for 5 minutes? How much fuck shit do you need? We good? Are we good? And usually it'll be about 38 seconds. And how long can you say fuck shit? Shit, fuck shit, fuck shit. I mean, you could do, it kind of sounds like rap, actually, I realize. It's pre-rap. I didn't realize that. And then they'd stop and go, okay. Because on the unit, and that's okay, it's a very behavioral unit, and you don't do anything like that. You have to be polite, and so it's like, get it out of the way. No, you don't say fuck to a person. That's disrespectful. You don't say fuck shit, you can say fuck shit. But when they do that in the office, I always say, I totally get, you can do that in here if you do that in the world. And I don't say you can't do it in the world. Oh yeah, watch me. Fuck shit. Of course you can do it in the world. If you do that in the world, oh my God, people are going to freak out. Teachers are going to get like, woo! Parents are going to go, yeah. I know you know. But just for my own sake, I just got to remind myself. So one kid did say to me, he was about 10, what's the worst word you know? Give me an honest answer. I said, okay. And I said the C word. Oh, guess what? Yeah. I get a call from the parents. Because he said it. And he said that I taught him. So I had to clarify. I totally get why you're upset, folks. Let me be also very, very clear. I told him the context. I told him, if you say that word in the world, oh my God, all kinds of things are going to come down. But he had ADHD-ish, a lot of impulsive issues, ODD, you know, and so he's going to go out there. So what I could have said, I know you want to, here's the deal. I know you want to know this word, and I totally get that. There's a part of you that's so in charge that it can handle having that word and go, boy, this is a fun word. I'd really love to say it out in the world, but if I do, all kinds of bad things will happen, so I'm not going to. There's another part of you, just like with me and everybody else, that goes, oh man, I can't wait to say this word, yeah! I could be totally wrong. I'm thinking that part of you is going to be running your show when you leave here, and you're going to end up saying that word out in the world. And I know that's not satisfying to you because you really want to know what this word is. And we might find a way that I tell it to you, but I'm not comfortable right now. Until that other part of you I know is really in charge, and I could be wrong. Something like that. I use the parts with kids all the time. It's a great, it's on your list. Woman named, I think her last name is Chansey, something like that. It's in your list. And she writes books like Freeing Your Children from Anxiety, Freeing Your Children from Negative Thinking, whatnot. And she's very much a part person. And name the part of you that does that. And then be in charge of that part. So, okay. Let's see, any other limits that we need to immediately be aware of? I mean, with again, the times, it's time! The session does end. And when it's time to end, it's time to end. And there are little pumpkins who don't want to leave. So what do you say? No, I'm not going, I'm not going. What do you say? I'm not going, it's not time. That's all it is, 45 minutes, that's ridiculous.
It sounds like you're having a lot of fun here, and it sounds like you don't want it to end.
No, I don't want it to end, no, you're right. So what after end? Let's go, I mean, I'll keep playing, come back.
Here's more time.
Here's more time? Great, I'll take that. That's really nice. That's good. How much more time do I have? How about 30? Sorry, 30, is it 30 minutes? How about this much more time? How about this much more time?
You must feel like you want to be with me all the time. You're really connected to me, and I feel really connected to you, but we only have so much time to work together. And I can't wait till we're here together next time. It's really exciting that we get to meet again. But
That's all right, all good. And again, I keep watching the face. By the way, I'll say that while I know you really want, and I do know that. I'm glad, and by the way, I'm glad you want to spend time with me. I'm glad you want to spend time with me. I want to spend time with you too. It's wonderful. I do look forward to our next time. And again, you know, and if there's a transitional thing, I'll give them that. You can think of me with this or that. But yeah, it's time to go. Most of them are okay. I'm glad. Some will do the run around, and then it's also, again, being causative agents. You can't control me. I know you don't like to be controlled. Yay for your spunky spirit. Nobody's going to push you around life, and that's very useful indeed, but nonetheless. Here you go, Mom. See you next time. Footnote on that, by the way. If there are kids, and occasionally will happen, because I always want to check in with the parent how it's going once they leave. Some kids, we're doing the bang bang, we're doing a lot of stuff, and they don't calm it down. And then there's little spinning dervishes, and I've just released a spinning dervish into the world of the mom or dad. That's not good. So in this case, I'll say, you know, we got to do the 5-minute tone down. We're going in now. And that's, again, skill acquisition. I'll teach kids about breathing. I told you, I'll put them on the floor and put the stuffed animal on their belly so they have the belly. I'll do it with Mom there. And, you know, we got to go get back in charge. You got to be in charge. Love your magic mind. And love your magic mind. That's going to serve you so well in life. You have a fabulous magic mind. Take it with you everywhere. But we also have to have the in-charger. You've got this Ferrari. You got to be the driver. You got to be on the shift. Stop. Look both ways. Because you have this unbelievable 958 horsepower. Okay, is the driver here now? Perfect. Drive on, buddy. Watch the crosswalks. Okay? But you do it in play, because that's their language. Nakuningitungkunk is their natural language. So you better learn Nakuningitungkunk. Otherwise you're talking this foreign language. They also need to learn this language. Oh yeah. Okay, which gets me right to the next place. My favorite quote of all. It's on my website. You've probably seen this. Life must be lived as play. Life must be lived as play. And who said that? Plato said that. Love that. Let me give you a couple others. What are you doing? Here we go. Love that, love that, love that, love that. You can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. Also Plato. Oh, well, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. George Bernard Shaw. You can if you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. I love this. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. Thank you, Albert Einstein. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the object it loves. Thank you, Carl Jung. How do you play? How do you play? I mean that literally, like how do you guys, each of you play? Not as a concept in general about play. How do you play? How do you play? What do you do for play?
I would say that more rarely I paint and do like let myself just go crazy on paint. But since
Beautiful.
it's less frequent, I would say that me and my boyfriend play a lot. So we like chase each other.
Fantastic.
Or wrestle or
Fantastic. By the way, for most people, playing tennis, playing golf is not playing at all. It's about causative agency and about value and being connected. If I'm really good, I'm connected, blah, blah, blah. It's about accomplishments. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing all that. It's good physical. That is not play. That is not play. Say what? Which is why I missed it. I missed it what? Oh, yeah, I guess that play? I don't know. I mean, do you laugh and giggle or do you get frustrated?
It's causative agency stuff.
It's causative agency. No, okay, yeah. No, most video games, it depends. If you're invested in the outcome, it's not play. Actually, I never said it that way, but I think that's true. If you're invested in the outcome, it is not play. Play is like laughter. It's a pause in eternity. I love that quote about laughter. It's a pause in eternity. Because you're totally in the present. You're laughing, you're just like, yeah, and you're pausing it. Play is a pause in eternity. You're not investing in the outcome, really. I mean, in sort of, we're going to get the bad guys, but it's not in that.
I wanted to add, my boyfriend and I do pirate sailing. So we dress up like pirates and meet a group of people and have water guns and go sailing.
Come on! You're a playmaster. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
You have to steal beers from other people's ships.
Say what? You have to what?
You have to like steal beers from other people's ships.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a drinking game, actually? Oh, it's a drinking game. Okay, well, that's enough. One of the reasons people drink, obviously, is because it lets out the playful mind for some folks. Get so uptight. Now they can be playful and silly. Do all kinds. But again, the dorsolateral kind of goes bye-bye. Magic mind. Anybody else? How else do you play? Yeah?
I'd say I play with my dogs a lot. And wrestle and play fetch and
that's,
stuff. And then I'm in like a little Big Brother program, Jewish version of it, and I play a lot with the little kid. And that's fun for me too.
It's beautiful. And that's another reason we love our animals. They bring out the magic mind, the playful mind. You want to get in your playful mind? You ready? Meow. You cannot be in your sane brain and bark at the same time. No way. No, you can't. It's an oxymoron. next time we're going to do an exercise. You'll see, not this time. But there are ways to get into the playful mind. But playing golf or basketball, that is not. I mean, it's wonderful. I'm not saying that, but that is not play. Couples in particular, healthy couples will play. I remember, again, my office on Prospect, so it's kind of a first date night or, early romance night kind of place. There's all these fancy restaurants. And I remember watching, it was so cute. I was just walking in my car. And they were probably in their young 20s, mid-20s. And what does every man hate? Having to go clothes shopping with his girlfriend. But it was obviously a newish relationship because she put on these hats. And she was flirtatious and kind of sexy, and she put it on him. And they were laughing. I thought, that is play. That is beautiful play. It is really important that you play. And very few of us. Remember I told you got to get at least 60 minutes of pure, unadulterated fun every day of your life if you're taking loving, responsible, respectful care of yourself. It doesn't have to be all at once. A minute here, we've laughed some, so maybe that's accumulation of some of your 60 minutes for the day. Play has to be a big part of that. And find the play, live your life as play. Now, next time we'll define it much more clearly. And he is so profoundly right, much more than you realize. Because we use that word in a very misnomered way. We think it's trivial and frivolous. Oh, go play. It is exactly the opposite. So, go play. And I'll see you next week. And we've got somebody who's got the question, going to do the question. Perfect. And we got that. Fantastic.
I think I have to go compete. This is too awesome.